I was actually trying to keep hustling and saying, oh, I just got to go harder. I just got to go all in. And then at some point, it was just not an option. And I was so tired. I had my kids. I was living in Bali, and from the outside, it looked amazing. And I was just so miserable.
5 years ago, you couldn't pay your bills. And now you live in Bali. You have 2 houses, 3 kids. And what happened? What changed for you? And I know it has something to do with manifestation, right?
Yeah. I actually reached a point where I had my business for many years, and I was creating amazing results, and I was making money, but I kept hitting the same glass ceiling and I couldn't break through it. And I was working way too much. Like I was always online. I was always working. I was always trying to do better, be more, get more. It was this constant chase of something. And I was just on the edge of burning out. Like at some point I just remember I was so tired, and I was like, I can't do this. Like I can't keep going this way. So it was so interesting because from the outside I did have a lot of success, and I was making money, and I was selling my products, and it looked pretty well,
Yeah.
but it was just this inside feeling of being so tired, so burned out, doing it in this very masculine way. And that was the way I've been doing business up until that point. So in the start, when I had my business, I was making money, and I guess I just had this limit around my vibration. What I called my mindset and my vibration was just set to this very low point of, I can make money, but I'm also very good at using all the money. So I was making a lot of money, but I was not changing the way I was managing my money. I was not changing the way I kind of just like raised my standards around money and what I expected from life. So I kept myself going in the cycle of making money in a very masculine way, hustling way too hard. And for some reason, it's just the law of the universe. Like if you don't change your frequency around things, like I might have been good at making money, but I was not very good at keeping it. So I kept like having the success, but my life in general, like I didn't have the overflow of money. So it was this constant, like, I need to make more money. I need to make more money. And I was almost burning out, and I did make a lot of money. And it was just a combination of, the thoughts, the emotions, and my habits around money and the way I was doing my business. And you ask what changed. And
Yeah.
I kind of just reached that point where I didn't have the option to keep going that way. So I was actually trying to keep hustling and saying, oh, I just got to go harder. I just got to go all in. And then at some point, it was just not an option. And I was so tired. I had my kids. I was living in Bali, and from the outside, it looked amazing. And I was just so miserable. And I just decided, like, if this is how it's going to be, then I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not going to do it this way anymore. I was in my business. I was not being fully me. I was not showing up 100% as me. I was hiding a little bit. And from the outside, I think a lot of people would not have seen that. There's like, oh, she's such a badass. She's just showing up. But I was still playing very like nice. I was not swearing. I was being a little bit boring, and it was just, yeah, it didn't feel right. And then I just, at that point, I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to show up 100% as me. And if people hate it, so fucking be it. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, at least I tried. And that was my first 107K month when I changed that. So it kind of worked.
Whoa, that is fucking mind blowing, man. Because I can
Yeah.
just relate so much because, as you know, because that's how we connected in the first place. I don't know completely how we met up in Bali and everything, but I had my jewelry company as well. And I also found it was a constant battle on the internet. And, I was
Yeah.
battling with being on discount all the time. And I felt like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I also, the same thing, actually, I can relate so much. I didn't feel like I was truly who I was. So it was a
Yeah.
disalignment, and I was working fucking 14 hours a day, and it was just,
Yeah.
oh my fucking god. And yeah, like you said, where's the money gone? Like, you earn
Yeah.
money, and then it's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Down the drain or something like that. And it was not
Yeah.
even even not the spendings, I just didn't, yeah, it was so hard to keep in a sense.
Yeah.
So what changed? What can we do? Like, I have a question. How can a, because how do we discover this? Because it doesn't feel like, I'm so happy we're talking about this, by the way, because I think a lot of women have money blocks and money,
Yeah.
wrong thinkings about money, and because we didn't
Yeah.
learn this.
Yeah,
And
we
how,
didn't learn. We learned how to hustle and just go out and just
yeah,
pull up your
man.
sleeves and just make it happen. Yeah. And one thing I realized at this point was that because I completely let go, like I was working a little bit, but not much. And then I started focusing on my self-care, my confidence. I went on, like, I had a lot of massages. I was just like showing my day to day. And then I had that huge month at that time. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, there's something I have missed out on because that's weird. So at that point, it really dawned on me that it's the combination of the feminine and the masculine. So for such a
Mm,
long time, I tried to only be in the masculine. And what actually happened after this is that I went too much into the feminine. And that is not working either. Like you cannot just
no.
what I call mind brain. You cannot just sit and visualize and work on your feelings and journal. That's really, really good and it's a part of it, but it needs to be this combination of the feminine and the masculine, the spiritual and the earthy stuff, the being and the doing, and um, creating on the inside, but also creating on the outside. And I think it's, I don't know if it's like an 80-20 thing, but it's much more creating on the inside and showing up with that vibe and then taking the inspired, aligned action on the outside. And then I think a lot of people just don't understand how much discipline it takes to especially as an entrepreneur, like we're always thinking like, what can I do? What can I do in the outside to create the results I want? What can I do today? How can I show up? What kind of post should I create? And if we're creating that on the outside, but we're not aligned, and I don't like saying aligned because it sounds like we need to be fully zen and fully in our, oh, I feel so good. And it's not like that. You can be like a hot mess and you can be angry and you can be all these things and sad. But if you're not in some way still like confident and you believe in yourself and you keep like shifting, I always talk about shifting back to that place where you work on your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, then it would just not work. And I just realized that because like, how can it be this easy when I'm having massages, I'm working on my mindset, and I'm just showing up 100% as me. And of course, there were people like, what the fuck is happening with her? I don't like the new style. I don't like how
Mm,
she's showing up now. And that's a good thing because they went somewhere else. And then I started attracting all the people that were like, oh my God, she's amazing. Like, I totally get that vibe. She's a badass. She's swearing. She's just showing up as her. I
yeah.
want to learn that too. Um, so it's the realization of it's a combination of everything. And also, I really want to say, like, when I like thought about where I had this today, I want to say that it's a constant like shifting back again. Right this morning, I had the morning where I was like, oh fuck, it's not working. What's wrong? It's not working.
Yeah.
And it's always about allowing that feeling to come up and say, okay, you're feeling that way. That's totally okay. It's just some ego stuff shit coming up. Look at all the things working. Look at how it's working. Look at all the clients coming in, the money you're making. You're living in Bali. It is working. And I think a lot of people are just not disciplined enough to do that inner work on their mindset and vibration. Or at least maybe they don't know how important it is. So they keep going out and do all the doing, and then they're almost burning out. And we can create results that way. I created amazing results, but we will hit that glass ceiling because
Yeah.
it's not scalable when we only do it this earthy way. We need to team up with the universe. And that's what changed. But I want to really say that it's still something I do today. It's still something I'm working on every day. I'm working on my vibration every day, shifting, going into that next level. And we know that when there's a new goal, we want to reach new stuff like next level, new devil. And that's just how it is. There's nothing wrong with us. because it's like that. We just need to know that when we have the tools to kind of deal with that, everything becomes a little bit more easy.
Yeah, I do feel like the most things I struggle with is always the not feeling good enough like part, and not, oh shit, now I'm gonna put this out in the universe, and then you kind of doubting yourself, and you don't feel you're good enough, you don't feel, oh, maybe nobody's gonna buy this stuff. So how do we deal with those negative thoughts? Because I think maybe if we're not born confident, right? Because many of us in society,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
born, especially in Denmark, don't be better than others. This whole the law we
yeah,
have here in Denmark. Don't shine brighter than the
yeah.
other people here. So how do we shift that if we're Danish or just have lack of confidence?
Yeah, yeah. I would say it's something I've been working on a lot. Like I think a lot of people have thought that I was very confident, and maybe I've been more confident than most people. I don't know. Um, it's I still have those feelings. Like if I'm launching something, it's like maybe someone will not buy, or who am I to talk about this? And then it's about, I want to just take a minute to really think about or feel into
Yeah.
the best advice I have for that is always telling yourself, like, as long as you do your best, that's enough. Like, you're always doing your best, and that's enough. The right people will get it. The wrong people, they will go somewhere else, and that's good. I actually have a good example. Like this January, I went back to Bali after living in Denmark for 3 years, and I was again, Denmark just had this vibe, I was a little bit tired. I was a little bit, ugh. And then I went back to Bali, and after I've had a couple of months where I felt really stuck in my business,
Mm.
and then I just decided, okay, I'm just gonna take a lot of like action, and it might feel messy, it might look messy, it might be that people don't understand what I'm doing or why I'm doing it this way, but I'll just show up and I'll just keep telling myself, as long as I'm doing my best, that's enough. And I created for 47,000 US dollars in that month after being stuck for like a lot of months. And it was easy and it was fun. And I just kept reminding myself, as long as you do your best, the right people will get it, and the other ones will go somewhere else. And we cannot really expect more of ourselves than that. And then, like, we could go into hyping ourselves and cheerleading ourselves and say, like, yeah, do this, and you're such a badass, and you're so good at this. And that's also a good thing. But we know that if the foundation is not there, it will not stick. So we can keep telling ourselves these affirmations. But if we, like, deep down inside, we just like don't feel good enough, I think it's at least it works better for me to say, like, I know you have that feeling. That's okay. A lot of people have that feeling. We all have that feeling, I think. As long as you just show up and you're doing your best, like, that's enough, and that's okay. Like, you're doing your best. That's okay.
Yeah.
And then I
I'm
think it's also, you're asking, sorry, I just want to say a thing. You're asking about if people are not buying. I always say, like, go into zero about that. So imagine that you're launching a program and you get really nervous about nobody's buying. Then I use the power of my brain to imagine that that is happening. And then I get into this vibe that when my brain does not know the difference, has it happened or has it not happened? And then because I'm just like that, and we are always like that, I just start thinking, so if this happens, what will I do? And then I know I can handle it. So all this big fear around, oh my God, I will be such a loser, such a failure, everything would just break down, I will never have success again. I just go into zero and think that, if this happens, nobody's buying, then I'll just figure it out because I've done that before. Then I'll just tweak it, I'll launch it again, I'll do it this way. And then your brain is like, oh, okay, then it's actually not that scary.
mm, I'm so glad you're bringing this up to the surface, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of women, female entrepreneurs are actually thinking this ways. I was just seeing a Instagram post from like a female entrepreneur in the UK, where she was actually, there's a painting of women sitting around a table, and two women were encouraging the other woman because she was thinking, I'm not good enough, will somebody buy from me? And I think we are not talking about this feeling enough, that we actually all sitting with this like insecurity.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
you saying it out loud, even though it's it's a negative thing, but I feel better, because then I'm not the only
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
just having
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
insecurities. Um,
Yeah.
and think is talking about that, because there was something you always say, mindbration. I want to know more about that,
Yeah.
because this is a word you brought together, right? Like, I'm so
Yeah.
excited
Yeah.
about that one. Tell me a bit
Yeah,
more.
it's actually a very funny story. Yeah, it was about that point where I was almost burning out. I was like, "Fuck that shit! I'm not gonna do it." Like, universe, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then I'm also clairvoyant, so sometimes I just receive messages. And one night I was sleeping, and then I kind of just woke up and I heard this word, vibration. And I out in the room I just asked, "So what is that?" And then I just heard the answer instantly. That would be everything in your business. And then I was like, nah, that's really silly. And then I just went back to sleep. And the universe kind of wouldn't let me off the hook. So it kept coming back. It kept coming back. It was like, you're not, like, this time we're not letting you go. Like, it just kept coming back. And I asked my husband, like, I keep hearing this word and I think it's really silly. And like, why is it like, go away? Like, it's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think 4 days into that, going back and forth with that word keep coming up, and it's like, oh my fucking God, it makes so much sense. It's everything. That's why I created the 107K month with so much ease. It's the mindset and the vibration. It's the
Woo!
masculine, it's the feminine, it's the being, it's the doing. And then I was like, oh, okay. And still, this was in 2017. And for a lot of years, I didn't take ownership of that word. And I'm still working on that, actually. As a part of me still thinks it's a little bit silly, but it just makes so much sense. So I start working, and as I always do before I launch anything and sell anything to my clients, I start testing it. So I was like, okay, universe, you give me this word. So show me how I can use it. Like, what is it that you need me to see? How can I help people with this? How can we create results by using the power of vibration? And I started testing so many different things. And I just kept hearing, like, you need to create an education around, like, an online course around this, that became the vibration master. And I had 40 people signed up really fast for that course. I was like, oh, okay, so this is interesting. So migration was kind of delivered to me, and at first I was like, no, that's so silly. Like, I'm not, I'm not gonna do that. That's so silly. And then it just makes so much sense, and I start sharing the tools, and people are getting amazing results, like out of this world results, where they became more confident, they became more happy, they have more abundance, they have more flow. And if you have been following me for just a little while, you know I'm all about ease. Like, it's supposed to be
Mm.
easy. Not that we're not working, but it's supposed to be easy. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to work with the clients we love, and it's supposed to be fun. And I just saw how my clients, and that is one thing I really like, that taking things that might sound a little bit complicated and make it super practical and
Yeah.
super simple. So I just created a 7-step process for using my vibration, and I just gave it to them and say, like, if you do this, you can actually manifest on demand. So you can say, I want this, I want to manifest this, and then you just follow the steps. And it sounds like it's like a 10-minute thing. It's not, because there's some clearing, there's some limiting beliefs you have to work on, and you need to decide on, like, what you want to manifest. And then people start taking that tool, and they just started creating these amazing results. I was like, okay, so this is actually working. So that was
Wow.
how it came about. And I still work that with my one-on-one clients, and in my courses, I always just get back to my vibration, because it just makes so much sense. And we know a lot of people are talking about this. They just don't call it vibration. They call it getting into the vortex, or using the law of attraction and becoming a match for. And for me, like, I read The Secret and I watched the movie, but there was something missing.
Mm.
Like, I was like, okay, so that's nice. And how do I do it? Like, how do I
Exactly.
do it? I need some practical steps. Yeah. And that was actually what I created with the migration. I've just created the practical step for people to say, okay, there is a law of attraction. I'm living on this earth. How do I combine these things? And how do I actually, in a very practical manner, say, I want to manifest this, and then following these steps. And then I have so many clients. It's so much fun when they say, I'm just doing this, and now it just manifested. Like it's almost like on demand, and that's just so much fun.
Wow, but because I would just want to say, I think the word is brilliant. And also, even the way you are talking right now, I think maybe also you really make it easy for normal people to understand the spiritual world,
Yeah.
right? Because I think sometimes, when you're reading those books like The Secret, or you listening to one of those spiritual teachers, and there's nothing wrong with the message, but sometimes you can like you're looking at them thinking, what 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 is that kind of word? And also, if you're not born English, I think that then you sometimes thinking, what the fuck are she's talking about? Those words don't make sense. It becomes too much up here. So I think also maybe what you do is like really, like you said, you make it understandable for everyday people. What do you actually see are the most limiting beliefs? Because now you had a lot of people and not maybe a lot of women through your work. What is the most common limiting beliefs they have?
It's always around confidence. It's always around confidence. Like I remember when I started my coaching business, and I was just coaching all different kind of people. I didn't have a niche. I was just like checking out who do I like to work with. And every time someone went out the door, I was like, oh, if this person had more confidence, then it will kind of sort itself out.
Yeah.
So it's always about confidence, because if we have a business, our business is just an extension of us, right? And the results we're getting is just an extension of us. And when we are confident and we believe in ourselves, not in this way, I always believe in myself. I have doubts. Like this morning, I had big doubts. And I think that's very important to talk about too, because a lot of people are not sharing that. And I have doubts, and they're coming up sometimes. And I just see that when we're confident and when we're showing up as ourselves, and we believe that that's enough, like you say, if we don't feel like we're enough, then when we start working on that, the limiting belief that I'm not enough, who am I to share this? Who will listen? Who will buy from me? And we start shifting into what I have to say is actually of really high service. And I deserve compensation for it. Like I deserve to be paid for that, because it's changing people's lives out there. So the most common limiting belief is that it's not good enough. Or something like, I don't know how to do it. That's such a good way to keep ourselves stuck, when we keep saying, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I want. It's like, it's bullshit. We know that. We're just afraid of telling ourselves, because then we got to move. Then we're going to act on it. As long as we keep telling ourselves, I don't know, we don't need to act. And as soon as we start, this is what I want, and this is the way I'm going after it, then we kind of, it's a little bit more like we can't back out, right? It's like, oh, now I actually know, so I cannot unsee that. So it's always about, I'm not enough. And I think there's also something about linking your worth to your results. I did that for so many years. So I was not getting the results I wanted. I felt like a failure. I felt like I'm not good enough. And I had these highs and lows all the time, because when I was having good results, like, oh, I'm such a good person. And then I would take a dip. I was like, fuck, I'm such a failure. Like, oh my God. And then I would have, yay. And it was so hard on my system. So when we get into that very grounded spot, not that we don't doubt ourselves, but we get into a more grounded spot of like, I'm good no matter what. I'm good no matter if people understand me or like me or not. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I know I'm good. Then we can come from this very grounded place, and everything just starts changing.
Yeah. It's so funny to saying that, because I feel like you're reading my mind, but I
am clairvoyant.
I went on a walk with my husband, my Jens, and I was, I'm always like I'm just talking when we're walking. And then I was thinking about this, exactly what you were saying, because we are both building new businesses for ourselves. So he's building on something with Upwork and stuff like that, and I'm building my own business here. And one thing that then suddenly occurred to me, what you're saying is like I put my worth together with my company, but Jens is not doing that. If something doesn't work for him, he just shifts gear and does something different. But his confidence and the way he looks at himself never shifts just because someone is not buying. And then I thought, oh my God, is this a woman thing? Like that we are like, it's almost because we birthed a baby like a real baby. No, birthed a baby like a real baby. Birthed a company like a baby. It becomes this complete attachment. Like if this, like you said, it's like a cold roller coaster ride. It's not a business going well. I feel good, and then other minute nobody's buying, and you feel like a shitty person. So do you think like this is a woman thing?
I see it more in women. I've also worked with men, but I
You
do
do?
also see it in some men. Yeah, I do
Okay.
see it in some men also. Like I work with very, very top performers, very, very successful entrepreneurs, and they were saying the same thing, and I was so surprised. I was like, oh, so you're feeling that way too. So I have seen also men sitting there feeling like I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if people will like it. But I think there is something about like there is definitely, maybe it's just because like we cannot generalize, in general, but I think women often feel more like we're just working in a little bit of a different way. And you could also take like an example for a job interview. We've heard and seen many times that men go in and they're like, hey, you should hire me because this and this and this and this. And some of them are lying. Also, there are women that might be doing that, but there's just so much more confident and they don't attach it to that. So I think I see it more in women, but I also do see it in men. And the thing is that we just need to, it's emotional intelligence, right? We just need to detach the results from our worth. And I'm saying that like it's very easy. I'm still getting into this sometimes where I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough. And I just know, and that's the beauty of it. Like when we know that we have the power to change our vibration, we have the power. Then we know we can look at it and say, oh, I'm doing this. This is not supportive. This is not supporting me. So what is a better thought I can start thinking about this? So let's say someone is not buying, and as you say with your husband, he says, "Okay, there must be something I need to change. Like I'll just go into trial and error." And I've been very good at that in my business. Like I'm just like, okay, then I'll try something else. I'll try something else. And when we do that and we see like it's not that there's something wrong with me, like maybe my message is just not clear enough, or maybe the price, or maybe I should just go harder on the marketing. Like when we detach the worth and we see it more, like I always say to my client, you're not the business, you're working on the business. And when we can do that, everything becomes easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally see that because it's otherwise we're gonna be on this roller coaster ride, right, all the time, and then we don't do enough because we this is how I feel, like, because then I step back because I feel insecure again, then I don't make the videos, or I don't post the thing I need to do because I'm like, oh no, because I don't feel good, right? Because and then it's so hard, then it becomes like I feel like it's a battle just swimming upstream always.
And that's why I'm saying we need to be super disciplined around this. So, and I think maybe men are just more like, oh, this is not working, what can I do instead? They don't think, and again, we cannot say men in general, but a lot of men are like, this is not working, okay, so what can I do instead? And of course there's also something to be learned around that, like the more emotional side of things and the attraction marketing. And but it's such a good thing when we can look more at like, I have this business, I am not the business. And if something is not working, we can work on the inner part of it, like the mindset. Why don't I believe that I deserve this? Or in some way, in what way am I scared of the success, or people actually just signing up? Or we can clear all these things, and then on the outside, we still take the action. So we test different things and we just have fun with it. Like the more fun we have with things and the more fun we have with testing things. And I think that's why I've had a lot of success, that I was just like, okay, it's just a lot of trial and error and just having so much fun. Like I don't believe in failure. People sometimes say, oh, I failed. And I'm like, I don't even understand that word, because what the fuck is failure? We just
Yeah.
learned that that did not work. So what can I do instead? So I don't believe in failure. And because of that, I cannot fail. I only fail if I quit. That's the only way I feel I can fail, because I'm not born to have a job. I'm not born to have a boss. So that's the only way I actually feel I can fail. And that would even not be a failure. That would just be me doing something else. But yeah, detaching from the results and our worth, and also being super grateful for the results we're actually creating. I've been that's something I really needed to work on. I remember I had a month where my personal assistant, she always sends me the number for how much I made the last month. And I had a month where I made what's that in US dollars? It's let me think. It was like 50,000 US dollars.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because after that month, I felt like a failure. I was like, I didn't have any results this month. I was like, what the fuck? You need to wake up. Like, you really need to see what you're actually creating. And that was like a turning point where, okay, it's very good that I'm creating results, but if I'm actually not seeing what I'm creating, then I'm just going to spin my wheels all the time.
Yeah.
So this gratefulness for all the things we're creating, and then of course also being eager for more.
Yeah. Wow. And I was just thinking when you're saying this, like, how do we, because you're so right. Failure is not a thing. Like, well, it's always I always see it as a lesson. What did I learn from this? But how, because no, both you and me, we have been hitting rock bottom, right, in our lives. And how did you climb up again? Like because you said to me, you burned out and everything, or almost burned out, and you went back to Denmark. Like, how do we get back on the horse? I almost want to say, is that a saying in English or is that just Danish?
Yeah. I think it's a saying, but I don't know. I say a lot of shit they don't understand. So
I know.
I know what I know what you mean. I actually think the funny thing is that the laws of the universe, like the baseline of the universe is overflow. The baseline of the universe is ease and money and abundance and clients and fun and happiness.
Yeah.
So if we don't have that, it's because we are fighting it in some way. We're like blocking it. So when I reach that point of completely letting go and say, fuck it. I was in the energy, I was surrendering. It sounds like I surrendered. It was more like, fuck the universe, I'm not doing this. But in the energy, I surrendered. So it was not even about climbing back. It was actually letting go of struggling against the baseline of the universe. So when we do that, when we kind of let go, and it's not in a way like I didn't give up, I didn't just sit and did nothing. It was more like allowing, like receiving and allowing, because the baseline, the basic of the universe is like actually overflow. And that was the thing I really learned, like, so when I'm tuning inwards, when I'm working on my vibration, when I'm meditating, when I'm in this connection with the universe, like there's so much abundance, there's so much overflow, there's so much ease. So instead of saying like, because I did try to climb all the time, that was the thing I tried to, and that did not work. And when I stopped climbing, everything fell into place, because I was actually just allowing what is the natural state of the universe, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it totally makes sense. Because I can feel sometimes, so let me see. So for example, if I feel like, I'm trying to get something up there, but then I kind of reach a wall. Like it feels like a wall, no matter how much I push it or you press it or try to get this thing up running. What would your suggestion to be then to a person that like because you feel like you have to sit then in front of the computer like 14 hours to make this work. Like I don't know how I can even make it understandable. So like it feels like you're just constantly pushing biggest stone up the hill. Yeah, that's a good one. And nothing happens. But if
Yeah.
and you're so afraid of leaving the stone and go into the garden and just dig or something, or pet your chickens or whatever. What would your suggestion be when you feel that like that struggle?
Yeah, yeah. I just want to ask, have you ever experienced that? You've been doing that, and then at some point you're just like, fuck it, you just let go, and then you get the results.
Yeah.
And then you're like, this is weird. Like, I've been struggling to get the results, and then I'm letting go, and now you're giving it to me? What the fuck? Universe, what are you doing? But that's the point again. Like, it's because we're actually doing it backwards. We believe that to get the results we want, we need to do that hustle, struggle, pulling it in one man army thing where we're like, oh, I need to show up all the time. And when we pull back and we get into that more feminine side of things, where we go into receiving mode, into the natural state of the universe, and we just start thinking about something else, and we start doing things that makes us happy, like pet our cat or something, we kind of get into that receiving mode. So we're just like receiving what was already there, but we could not get it because we thought that I need to make it happen. I need to make it happen. I need to do this struggle. So I think it's exactly what I said before. Like, it's this combination, and like it's this cross point of like doing the things, but also being in receiving mode. And sometimes if you've been struggling with something for too long, I actually tell people to let go of it. Like, take your focus away from that. Stop focusing on how to get more money if it's not working. Stop focusing on how to get more clients if it's not working. Take your attention to something that is working. Something in your life where you're already happy, where you already feel the abundance. And because like attracts like, so when you start feeling grateful, when you start feeling the abundance, you will start attracting abundance into all areas of your life. So it's like when we focus on lack, we focus on things not working, we only get more of that. And when we let go and say, okay, fuck it, then I'm not going to do it, I'm going to focus on something else that I'm actually happy about, then the natural state of the universe is delivering it to you because it's already available. Like, it's already there.
That is so beautiful, because I was thinking, that I don't know if what you grew up with, but I grew up with work has to be hard, right? So I am always I kid you not, finding ways to make it hard. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so fucking stupid. And so when I'm then doing something just silly and fun, and sometimes I'm getting out of this, it has to be hard, right? And then I just do like a reels or something, and it's just for fun. And then it gets so many views because I had so much fun doing it. But for me, this been such a struggle always, because I grew up, you have to work hard for 40 years and it has to be that struggling, and you have to hate it every day and go for 8 hours, right? And it's integrated in me. I think it's because my dad is German or something like that.
Yeah, might be.
and 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 I have to become so much aware of that. I call it the little soldier in my head. So but it's so hard to then shift over to actually do something that's fun, because can building a business actually be fun? Can I work 4 hours a day, have fun doing it, and then go have a massage or something? I wish I was in Bali and could have a massage. But
Yeah.
do you ever had like that also? Because I don't know how you grew up. I want to talk more about money as well, but the work ethic, like the with you from your parents, like how
Yeah.
do we again
Yeah.
work with that?
Yeah. The first thing I want to say, like, it's always about looking at what we're telling ourselves. And when you're talking, I just see like, oh, I understand why it might be hard, because you tell yourself that it's hard. So it's so hard to get out of this, because I had a German dad and he kept telling me. So you're kind of getting into the momentum of creating more of that. And that's just a thing we need to be aware of. Like, what am I saying about the situation, and what could be a better thing that I could tell myself? So one thing I would say is like, I always ask myself, how can this be more easy? Like, how could this get any easier? And that's the thing I've always done in my business. Like, I always automated things. Like, I was doing online courses. I think I was probably one of the first ones in Denmark. Like, it was not a thing at that point, because I was like, I'm not going to sit there and have one-on-one sessions all the time, because that's not easy. That's not scalable. And I always ask myself, how can this get more easy? So I think a lot of us are brought up that way, and me too, thinking that it's hard, or and money doesn't grow on trees and all that shit.
Yeah.
And that's back again to the discipline, asking yourself, what am I telling myself around this situation? Is it supporting me? And if not, what is the more supportive thing I can say to myself? And the thing here is, and that's again one thing I want to say about affirmations and how people are talking about the law of attraction. A lot of people say, just tell yourself, I'm rich, it's easy, clients are flowing in, and then your ego just go bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. So you end up having this inner fight, and you're getting nowhere. So I just want to give this amazing tip to say, like, I'm open for this being easy. I'm open for more clients flowing in. I'm open for letting go of the beliefs I have, because then your ego cannot say, like, yeah, okay, I'm actually open for that. And that small shift will shift everything in the energy, because you're not fighting yourself. And that's again one thing I think has been missing in this whole field around manifestation, because yeah, it's really good to work with affirmation, but if you keep just like fighting yourself and like, no, I'm not rich, no, clients are not flowing, then you will not. It's always about momentum in your mind vibration and the frequency, and you will not get anywhere if you just keep fighting. But if you say, like, you can also say, wouldn't it be fun if it was just easy? Wouldn't it be fun if I had been wrong all this time that it needed to be hard? Wouldn't it be fun if I could shift it today? Wouldn't it be fun if it just shifted? Oh my God, wouldn't it be fun? Like, so we're just playing around with the energy and the words and the way we like our mind vibration. And as soon as we do that, things start changing and realigning in the universe. And that's so much fun.
I like that you're bringing that up, because it's such a simple shift of wording, right? Because even when I say it, if I say something, like you said, if I say, oh, I'm so rich, I have $100 million, I'm like, and then you just hear the voice directly, like, bullshit.
Yeah.
You don't fucking have
anything. Fuck you.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Get your shit together. And but if you say it, you can even feel it in your body, like, I'm open to receiving.
Yeah.
It's like such a different thing. And what can your ego then say? Because okay, yeah, I think we are open.
Yeah.
It's like,
exactly. And that's the thing with that's the fun of like working with mind vibration, because it can shift so fast. And it's always about that. That's how we create our results. I call it the mind vibration chain, that our thoughts creates our feelings, creates our action, creates our results. And we know that the law of attraction is just as active as the law of gravity. Like, we know if I drop this glass, it will smash all over the floor. Like, we don't doubt that. It will be a mess. And the law of attraction is just as active. And a lot of people are just not using that to their advantage, because I sometimes have clients coming into me and then they keep talking about the same things over and over again. Like, I'm not getting clients, I'm not making the money I want. And then I just say, no. And as long as you keep talking about that, you just keep re-manifesting that. So you need to start changing what you're sending out, the way you talk to yourself. Like, you need to stop re-manifesting. And that is actually what most people do every day. They just re-manifested the same shit as yesterday. And I do that sometimes myself too. And we just have the power to say, okay, so what kind of results do I want? Who do I need to become to create those kind of results? So like, I have such a fun story. I met with a Russian friend in Bali, and she said, we used to talk back 3 years ago. And she said, I remember one thing you said to me when we were meeting, like the fourth or the fifth time. She said, I was talking about how my business was not working and complaining. And then you just stop me and say, maybe it's not working because you're complaining about it all the time. And then she said, and I went to my friend and I told her that you said that. And she was like, that's not a good friend. She needs to listen to you and your feelings. And then my friend said, but I think she's actually right. And that's the thing. We need to get out of that victim state,
Yeah.
even with ourselves, and say, how am I creating this? We need to take 100% responsibility. Like, how am I creating this shit? And then we need to start. We don't need to do anything, but if we want things to change, we can start taking the power back, right? And say, like, so what is some powerful things I can start telling myself, or at least be aware of, like, I'm creating the same results over and over again. I'm the one keeping myself stuck. It's nothing on the outside. It's not my coach. It's not my mentor. It's not the economy. It's me. And then we have the power to say, okay, and then what will I do from here on?
That is so fucking powerful, because you're so right.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we are often just constantly just complaining and in victim mode. And I think there's a saying, I don't know what the saying is exactly, but it's like, if you, but I just, because I had a podcast with myself where I interviewed myself, and I was saying this: if you keep on eating cake, you're gonna get fat at one point, right?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you want different results, you need to start eating carrots instead, right? So, and then it goes for business as well. But it's just so true. I think that I like that you said that to your Russian friend. That is a really good friend saying that, because sometimes we need to hear it, and we women cannot always just like allow each other to just sit there and say, you know, it can go, you know, then we complain about our husbands or children, or you know, or the company, right? And sometimes we have to say, but how can you be different? Like, maybe you actually see the same shit all over again, right?
Yeah.
I think, and that's, I want to give you a little compliment here as well, because I think you make it really easy. You really brought the Danish honesty into your business. I think that is also why it's working so well for you, because I feel like there's a lot of fluff and puff out there. You know, when you see the online world with the gurus, and you know, it's all, you just have to sit there and meditate and blah blah blah, and it's also candy flushed. Plus,
Yeah.
when are somebody actually stepping up and telling the fucking truth and saying, okay, but this is not going to happen if you just sit and complain?
Yeah, I think I'm that friend. Sometimes you don't call me because you don't want to have the honesty. And that's just, I'm just like that. I'm also like that as a mentor, as a coach. Like, I will call out people's bullshit, and I'm always coming from love. And I totally believe that my clients, they understand, like, they get it. And that's why they hire me, because we don't, like, nothing will change if nothing changes. And if we just keep doing the same things and we keep, like, I would be such a bad friend if I just like sat there and listened to her complaining, instead of saying, like, hey, you're creating that shit. Like, you're so much better than that. Like, why are you doing that? And I think, yeah, we need more people that are like, I'm not afraid of being honest. It's actually the same. I had another friend that he's really overweight, and then he said to me, like, my doctor said that if I'm not gonna, like, I have a bad heart. And I said, yeah, and there's a reason for that, because like you're overweight, and this is coming from love, but you know, like, if that's gonna stop, you need to take responsibility for your health and your self-love, and you're taking care of yourself. And he was like, yeah, I so understand you. And that's again back to me trusting that the right people, they can handle me being honest. And the wrong people, they will go to someone else. Because I will not, with my clients or my friends, or I will not be fake, or I will not sit there and just like help them re-manifest the same shit over and over again. We need someone to say, like, hey, but you're actually creating that. And it's always from love, right? It's always about me wanting them to step back in their power. I also sometimes have some clients, and they keep asking me what to do. They keep asking, so what should I do here? What's the answer to this? What is the universe saying? Because I'm a clairvoyant. And then I say, like, hey, you really need to get back into your own power, because you have all the answers, and I will help you get there. but we need someone who can call out our bullshit and see us in that power instead of letting us, sometimes of course it's nice that we can vent and we can just like, fuck this shit, fuck this shit, fuck this shit,
Of
and
course.
just feel the feelings, and that's okay. And then we say, and now what? And now what?
I think that is such a good point. I think I think that is actually more loving, being fucking honest, because
Yeah.
then you are actually giving the service of not wasting so much time. And yes, and if
Yeah.
it comes with love, and it comes from love and comes with a smile, it's a different, because you can say it, and you can also say it in different ways, right? You can be honest
Yeah, of course.
with a smile, and I think that is so true. And I just forgot what I wanted to say. I just, do you know that when you have like a brilliant thing and then it just,
Yeah. I always trust that if it's important, it will come back.
yeah, exactly. But it's so, I think you're doing a really great service here, to be honest. Oh yeah, now it's back. So that is also what I think men are also better at sometimes. They complain quickly, and then they find a solution together with their boys,
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
but why are you not just doing it like that? And then he's like,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is also okay. So another thing, were you saying a lot of people are asking you, uh, but what to do next? And I feel like that is also a big trust issue in yourself, because not in you, but in a person, because I don't think we, all of us, learned how to trust our intuition, right? We are,
Yeah.
as children,
Yeah.
often made wrong if we, even if the smallest thing, like, okay, I'm crying or I'm angry, and my parents are saying, oh no,
Yeah.
don't be angry or don't be sad. Already there, you taken away from your truth. So how do
Yeah.
we come back, Miella, to
Yeah.
intuition? Because I definitely am one of them that, oh shit, I lost it a little bit along the way.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I've been there too. Like I've been searching all the answers from the outside because I didn't trust myself and I was always
Mm.
made wrong for the feelings I had. And so I totally believe that, or understand that. I've been there so many times too. And I think that's a part of my mission on this earth, to really help women to get back to that point where they can actually trust their intuition. And it's basically the most easiest part is to say, like, think back to a time where you had this gut feeling around something and you did something else. We always know that, oh, fuck, I should have listened.
Yeah.
It costs money, tears, heartbreaks. Like, we have done it with men, we have done it with clients, we have done it with so many things where we said, I have this gut feeling that this is wrong for me. And then we like, yay, I'm just going to jump straight into it. And then we
Exactly.
know a while in, we know that, oh, I already knew. So I will always say, like, look for evidence before that. You can always trust yourself. And I will say sometimes we can be clouded. So we have been spinning so much that we cannot see clearly.
Mm.
And that's where I always say, like, hire a mentor, buy a course, read a book, do something that makes you think in a different way, because then you'll start getting different results. And yeah, I always say, like, have a mentor, have a coach, because we just can't see ourselves from the outside, and we're spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. And sometimes we just need someone to call out bullshit or say, like, hey, I can see exactly why this is happening. Like, that's how I work. I can see exactly why people are not getting the results they want. I can see exactly where they're blocking themselves, where they're blocking the money, why clients are not coming in or they're not making as much as they want. And I think and that was the thing I didn't do when I started my business. I did everything myself. And
Yeah.
it was just so freaking hard. Like, why would I do that? I could have taken such a shortcut if I hired someone, but I didn't do that. But I will say that everything is easier sometimes when we have someone supporting us on the
Mm.
side and helping us see more clearly, because we can be clouded. And I'm just I think that's the most important thing as a mentor, as a coach, is to or one of the most important things is to help my clients get back into feeling like, oh my God, I have all the answers. I actually don't need her because I have all the answers. And I have a good example. I have a client right now, and she worked with another coach, and that coach told her, you need to follow this strategy. You need to do it this way. You need to do all these
Ooh.
reach out, and you need to do it this way. And she learned a lot, and some of it was working. And then she said, at some point, it just stopped working because I hated the strategy.
Yeah.
I just hated it. And I was like, yeah, of course, then it's not working because you can do business your way. So then I'm helping her getting back into like, what's your way of doing business? And that might take a little bit of a while to say, I need to unlearn what all the other gurus have told me is the right answer. And then I need to get inwards and feel into what's right for me and trusting that that's enough.
Yeah.
And it's always enough, but we just need to get the help to get back into that. I trust that I am enough. I trust that the way I show up in my business is enough. I trust that when I work on my vibration, I'm attracting the things that I want, the clients I want. And I don't need to do all sort of shit in my business that I don't want to do. We don't need to do that.
What a good point. Can I get a woo? That's so
Yeah. Yeah.
that is so true because oh my God, this when you're an entrepreneur and you're on the online world and in the online world, YouTube, Instagram, and everybody is telling you do it this way, then you need to do 2 reels a day, you have to have a carousel Instagram post, and you have to
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, and none of this is fun, or you have to have a blog for me because
Yeah.
I hate writing. I just deeply hate writing.
Yeah.
I like talking. That's my thing.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
and I'm so glad that that client shifted over to you because again, we can learn things and we can get inspired, right? Sometimes it's nice to see what other people do because, ooh, that's a nice technique. And if it feels like, ooh, this is a nice technique, maybe this would work for you. But
Yeah.
not every single step will work for you. I think I'm so glad you're bringing this up because that's way we can also work with more with ease. If we follow, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because we are back to if we're lacking confidence and we are not trusting our intuition, we start searching the answers on the outside, and then of course we will invest in a coach that will tell us you need to do this and this and this and this and this, and then we will sit and we might create results and we're like, fuck, I don't like this. Like, this is not sustainable. I don't like it. I remember I hired a mentor and it was working really well for her to have a lot of one-on-one clients, and it was working really well for her to have a lot of onboarding calls. And I just kept telling her, that's good, like that's fine for you, but that's not my thing. Always been very good at scaling online offers because I want the freedom of it. I love group programs. I have some one-on-one. I will never do onboarding calls. Fuck that shit. Like, I will not do that. I trust that people can find me. My vibration is so on point that they will just tap into it and they will just get it. Like, I trust that is enough. I don't believe that I need to have calls to convince people or sell it. I was like, no. And I actually had to stop working with her because she keeps saying like, no, one-on-one calls is the thing. I was like, no, not for me. It's not the thing for me. Like, I would burn out. Like, I would die slowly inside. And that's the thing. And that's also the thing I'm doing with my clients, helping them find their way of doing business, helping them find their way of showing up, helping them find their confidence, their words, their vibration, their frequency, because then they become magnetic as fuck and they start attracting their kind of clients, their kind of money. And that's the thing I think a lot of coaches and mentors, in my opinion, is not doing right. Like, they're trying to put their strategy on someone, and I would never do that. Like, I would never do that because it will, in the long run, it will not work. It's about helping your client finding their way and giving them permission to break all the fucking rules and just do it their way. And then the money comes, then the clients come, and then everything becomes so much more fun, easy, overflowy, and it's sustainable.
And it makes so much sense when you're saying that, right? Because it becomes much more easy. So as soon as you align with yourself, also because then you are sending out at ease, right? You're sending out ease because you just feel lighter and much more yeah, in the flow. And I think you're so right. I think a lot of the coaches out there, it's a lot about ego stuff, right? It's like, oh, I have the right answer, instead of we 8 billion different individuals. How can one thing just be perfect for everybody, right? I'm always saying that with the 8 to 4
Yeah.
o'clock work days, like how can that be sustainable for 8 billion people on earth?
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I think it's so lovely that you are seeing your client for who she or he is, and then uncovering her uniqueness or his uniqueness. um
Yeah,
oh, it's
and
brilliant.
it can be super annoying for my clients because they sign up and then they say, "I want you to give me the answer." It's like, no, I'm gonna help you find the answer for you. Like, what do you enjoy doing? What do you not enjoy doing? And then we're cleaning up that shit. And then I'm helping them really shift into that confidence of being enough and that being enough. And it's just so amazing. Like, it's so much fun when you reach out to me. I just said to my friend the same morning, and that's the way we can also work with the universe. Like, I enjoy so much making podcasts. I enjoy so much the conversations. It's so easy for me. It just gets me so on fire. I love this. Like,
Yeah,
it just makes me so happy. And then you send me an email. Like, do you want to come on my podcast? Yeah, of course I want. Thank you, universe. And that's the thing. Like, there's so many ways of doing things, and I want to say sometimes I myself think that I have to do it a specific way, and then I start trying it through that way. It's not working. It will never work, or it might work one time, and then it stopped working because it's not aligned. So
yeah,
when we start believing that what we want to do in the way we want to do it, as who we are, and we can show up 100% as us, and people just dig that, the right people, they will just love it, then it's fun, and the money and the clients are there.
yeah, so true. And this reminds me actually I think it was a YouTube clip I saw once, a woman saying you can have like if you imagine yourself standing in front of like on a stage, and yeah, there's hundreds of thousands of people, and there's two of you, and both of you have the same speech, right? Both of you are saying the exactly same words, but half of the crowd can only understand you because you are
Mm,
vibrating in the same way as they are doing, and the other crowd would not understand what you're saying, even though you say the same words as the other person. But
mm.
they will lean more towards her because they understand her vibration, like you're saying, like her
Yeah,
energy, and exact same words, and but the crowd will be split into two. And I
yeah.
think that is what we are doing here. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, and the key is to not trying to make the crowd that doesn't understand. The
Yeah,
key is to be okay with that and say, that's just not my people, and
yeah,
that's okay. And it's not about attracting everyone, it's about attracting the right ones, the ones that actually get your vibe. And like, I have a lot of followers or people that might find me on the internet. It's like, fuck, she's not for me. She's weird. She's saying fuck all the time. And there's like spelling errors all over the place. And she's doing it that way. That's weird. And someone said to me, it was so fun. Like, she said, "Oh, you're showing up in this bra. I have a picture where I have like it's a body thing, and I'm looking amazing." And she's like, "Oh, you should wear less makeup, and you should not wear that thing. And how can you talk about female power?" Like, and I was like, "Why are you even here? Like, why are you wasting your time trying to change me?" And
yeah,
I just remember, and it was such a turning point for me because for many years I was trying to fit in, I was trying to make people like me. And I just remember telling her, like, I'm not going to change so you can handle me.
no,
Like, I'm not going to change. Like, you could go somewhere else. Like, go to that. She mentioned another one. See how she's doing it. I was like, so why are you here? Just go there. Like, I don't need it. Like, I don't need you to love me to feel okay. Like, I love myself, and that's okay. Like, if you don't, it's nothing about me. We're just not a match. And
mm,
I think that's the thing we need to learn also as an entrepreneur, that we don't like everyone, and not everyone is going to love us. But it has nothing to mean with us being wrong or doing it the wrong way. It's actually a good sign if people start getting a little bit triggered by you. It just means that you're actually being more specific in your vibe, and the right people will feel that, and the other people will not. Like, it's so fun that the client I was talking about before, she just found my Instagram and she said, it's so weird because usually when I'm making an investment like this, I take such a long time. Like, and I just decided in 2 days that I want to invest in you. And that's the power of my vibration. I did not have any onboarding call. I was texting a little bit back and forth with her on Instagram. And she, at some point, she kept asking and said, like, hey, just take your time, decide whether, but we're no more talking. Either we're going to do this or we're not. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm in. And that's the thing, like we need to just trust that we can do it our way, set the boundaries we need to set, and that's enough. And people will get it. It's all energy. Like it's nothing about what the words are on our sales page. Like I often buy courses where I read maybe 5 or 10%. I just feel I need this and then I buy. And that's how I want to do business. And that's how I teaching my clients to do business. It's all about vibration.
Yeah.
Not so much about the strategy or the words on the sales page. Like it's just not.
No, it's all about like people trusting people and feeling the energy, I think. But it's so true. Also,
Yeah.
what is it worth if we can't be yourself, right? Because then it will
Yeah.
always be a struggle online. And also, I feel like then we maybe also attract the wrong people.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
and they're like when we do that, like when we are not being authentic, we attract this pain in the ass clients. Like
oh
we
yeah.
all been there. Yeah, and this they're not paying, or they're
Oh,
kind all the time they're pushing your boundaries, or they're asking like they're not taking any responsibility. Like, and I'm just not working with people like that. I'm not. Like
no.
I had someone reach out to me. She said like, I want to hire you, but I need to ask you a favor. I need you to ask. No, I need you to be okay with me not paying before I'm making money. I was like, no, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
No, that's not how. No, that's not how you're working with me. Like you're paying up front. And she was like, oh. And she actually took it really well. So I was like, I believe that you have the power to do that. Create the results and then come back and we will take that to the next level. But I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lower myself so you can get in. No. I'm not going into that vibe. Like you're gonna rise up and I will meet you there. Not
Yeah.
that I'm better, it's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not better than anyone, but it's more this like I expect my clients to rise up. I'm not going down to pick them up. I expect them to rise up.
Yeah. That is really well said. Otherwise you always have to do compromises with yourself, right? And that's where we start
Yeah.
spinning down again instead of up, and we're losing our money again.
Yeah.
Yeah, back to the money part. I'm glad I said that. So
Yeah.
how did you, because you said like it felt like it was running out, you were earning money, but it was like going somewhere else. Like it was just like coming in and out again. How did you do some work on the money part? Like, because you,
Yeah. I always do that and I still do that because we have like a minimum of where we believe like we could see it as a thermostat. We have like a minimum, like we won't go below that. For some people, that's being in debt, almost being kicked out on the street. I've never been there. For some, it's like zero. So every time they have some money in the bank, they would just make sure at the end of the month it has been used. Like they would just use the money. For some, it's like 20,000. For some, it's like millions. And I just, at some point, I realized, okay, so I can keep myself, I'm making this money all the time. So if that's possible, it must be possible to go up to a new minimum. And I just decided on that. And within a month, I was there. So it's always around, that sounded like it was really easy. At that point, it was actually really easy. It's not always that easy, but it's around working around our beliefs around money and the minimum and the maximum, because we also have a maximum, say like, I cannot make more than this. So we kind of level between the minimum and the maximum. And the fun thing is, again, when we have the practical steps to raise that, we can do that again and again and again and again, and it's rising and rising. Like you mentioned, like 5 years ago, I didn't have the money to the things that I wanted, and now I have 2 houses. I'm living in Bali, and that's the way I've been doing it. Say like I kind of communicate with the universe, myself, and I'm setting new standards for this is how I want it to be now. And then I'm clearing all the shit telling me that I cannot have it, and then I start like using the power of my vibration to create that, and being disciplined enough to look at where am I not taking responsibility? Where am I creating this kind of weird pattern? And
Yeah.
it's back to our mindset vibration always. So when we're in that spot where we have the money, but it's kind of running out, we just need to ask ourselves, like, how am I creating this? What am I thinking about the situation? What am I feeling? And what habits do I have? Because a lot of people have really bad habits around money. And I had that. I had the money, but I was so good at spending it. I was not investing it in anything. And then I was like, oh, I want to spend money, save money, and invest money. So that's the way I'm doing now, because you can also have a lot of money and you grab onto it. That is just as bad as spending it all. That is also coming from lack and not trusting that there's always more. So what I did is just start working on my vibration around that, my mindset, my feelings, my habits around it. And then things started changing. And I'm still doing that. Like every day, and especially if I'm going after a new goal, I'm thinking like, so who do I need to become? What is my next level identity around this next level of goal I have? Because it's already in the universe, the vortex, the 4D, whatever you want to call it, it's already created. So it's just a matter of me becoming a match for it. So I need to clean up the shit that makes me not a match for it, and then I need to become the match for it by changing my vibration. And then automatically it will start flowing in. And it can happen so fast. That's the fun thing. Like as soon as it clicks, I mean, like, now I see, then it can happen so fast.
Wow. So it's a lot of cleaning up. So it sounds like you're setting yourself a new Miella. That's my new Miella. That's how I'm gonna look like. That's how much money I'm gonna earn. This is how my company is gonna look like. And then you start cleaning up the shit that on the stairs that so it's like you cleaning up the things that is in your way to get up there. Is that
Yeah, you can kind of communicate with that future version of yourself. That's so much fun. I love talking about that. Where you set the goal. I have this new goal around money. And then you ask yourself, okay, there's already a version of me that have created that. Somewhere in, like, some people call it parallel universe. We can call it the quantum field. Like there's already a version of me that had created that. And then you start asking her, say like, okay, what is she telling me? Like, what is she doing that I'm not doing now? And what is she not doing that I'm doing now? And what is she telling me? And like, what is she telling herself? And how is she looking? Like, how is she showing up? How is she being different? Because we know the results we have now is just feedback of the person and identity and the vibration we have now. So when we are going for a next level goal, we need to become another. It sounds fun when we say we need to become another person. We just need to become more us in a different version. But when we start communicating with that version, that already has the result, and then we start cleaning up in the now, saying, okay, she's probably not watching Netflix like 4 hours every day. She's probably eating better. It's this example, she's probably outsourcing some of the things. She's probably showing up more on social media, and she's probably telling herself like she's a badass and she can do it, and she's probably not mind looping as much as I'm doing. Like, so we start communicating with that version for that next level goal. And then because the law of attraction is always active, we'll start becoming a match for it and we'll start floating in.
Good to hear. It's such a good advice, because I think we often forget that because we are just, we are so blinded where we are, right? And we feel like there's no way we can move, and we don't see the next steps because we actually don't know also not where we want to go. So the goal or the destination is not really clear.
Yeah.
It's something, I learned this actually also in Bali. I met a coach there and she was all about this, figuring out where you want to go in the future. Not that you have to change yourself, but like you said, like how do I get closer to the original myself, like original version of myself. The future self. And I think it's always nice to work on yourself. You don't want to sit in a rut and always just be there and complain and watch Netflix and eat chips, right? You want to move, because that's what nature is about. This is what the universe is about. It's moving. So you want to move. And I think this it's also something I also used to coach before, and where I also was saying, but where do you want to go? Who do you want to become? How do you see yourself? How do you dress like?
Yeah, and the fun thing is that for so many years, I thought that my identity was static. I thought that I'm just like that.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing that I can be whoever I want to be. I can show up as the person I want to be. So, for example, let's say that you've been told all your life that you're shy. Like that, I've not been told that I was shy, but let's say you've been told that, and you buy into that. Then you start showing up as this shy person, and you're getting the feedback from being a shy person. And I've been testing this so many times in when I get into new settings, like starting a new school or something. And I was just like, okay, so who do I want to be? Like, how do I want to be? Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up? And then just challenge yourself about being that new version of yourself. And that is just so much fun playing around with, because the outer feedback, like the outer results, will start changing when you start changing. And that's the power of it and the beauty of it. So I would say like it's about like recreating ourselves, becoming more us, stepping into that next level version of ourselves. And you said something about the future, and I might think a little bit about different about time, because I actually think that it's all in the now. So when we're talking about, I want to create this future, and I understand what you're saying by saying that, but it's all in the now. It's already created. So it's more about like, how can I, from where I am now, if I keep focused on everything I have now, and I keep doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts, I would just stay in that kind of vibration, and that would be my reality. So let's say there's like a parallel reality here where I have more money, more clients. My international brand is like, it's booming and growing. That's what I'm working on right now. And then it's more about like getting into boom. Here we are. Okay. So in the now, that's where I'm coming from. That's who I am. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm vibing. And that's what I'm sending out. And because the law of attraction is always active, it has to follow that vibe. But I need to get into it first. Like I need to be that person, and I need to work on all the things like my limiting beliefs and just becoming that person of it's already done. And then the outer world, because the 3D world or the earth works a little bit slower than the spiritual quantum field, just might take a little bit of time before things are realigning and things start happening. But if you stay there and you keep working on that point, it will happen. So yeah, that's the fun part of it. And sometimes it's not so fun, because if you don't feel like it's working, or it's not happening too fast enough, it's not, you become not patient around things. That's the thing about like not trusting in the universe. It's just bringing yourself back into, I know it's already done. I just need to be that person.
That is such a good point. I like the way you shifted that, instead of looking at the future, looking at a different part of the universe. So it's like here and now, still here and now. I think that is a much better way of saying it, because then you also start wording again. We're back to the wording like differently, because otherwise it becomes somewhere, it always is out there, like you move one step closer to it, and it moves one step away from you in the future, right? So I think that's a great tip, actually, to keep it here in the now.
It's in the now. It's already created. It's already created. It's already here. It's just a matter of becoming a match for it. Because if we keep talking about in the future, I want to do this, then we will just keep remanifesting, as you say, in the future. In the future, it's like, no, fuck that shit. It's already here now. Like, it's just a matter of me becoming a match for it, because then it will just click in, and the results in the outer world will start matching what I believe and what I'm vibrating. And then it's like, that was easy.
Wow. It's also actually mind-blowing to see also the difference between you now and you then, because we met. And I don't completely remember the whole thing, because how long is that ago?
I have no clue. Like the first time I was here, it's probably the first time I was in Bali. That was in 2014, 15. So I think it must have been around that point. But yeah, I changed a lot since then. I was like so much in lack. I was so much in struggling. I was so much in hustling. I was not loving on myself. I was not feeling good enough. I was it's like a completely different, it was a completely different version of myself, like completely different version. I was trying to be someone else, like And that's funny because I just said like become someone else, but it was an unhealthy version of myself. And I was always doing the best I could. And I was just basing my worth on my results. So I was always chasing the next high. And that's a shitty thing to do because then you kind of just put your worth out there instead of taking it inward. So yeah, I do hear a lot of people. It's so much fun because there are a lot of people who've been following me for many years. And then when they kind of tune into my vibe again, it's like, oh my God, you have changed. Yeah. And I've worked on that. Like I've worked a lot on that, but it's just changed so much. I'm a
Yeah.
completely different person. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is so cool. And I think also getting back to that, I think also the moving, because you said something earlier that when, because that is something I did, right? When I moved to Bali the first time, and maybe also this did it the same thing for you, I could completely choose who I wanted to be or come back to who I was because nobody knew me. So that was it was a completely different reality, right? And it's such a release because you finally can have like the quietness to figure out who you are. And that is
Yeah.
the biggest thing Bali did to me. I don't know if it was a similar thing because you moved with your husband back then, I remember, to Bali. And
Yeah.
you don't, I didn't know anybody. And so you could choose to actually leave the shit behind that people told
Yeah.
you were, like with the shyness and all this stuff. You could just out the window.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish it was like that for me the first time. It was not at
Oh,
all. Like the first time I was there, I lived there for 10 months and I never this mind loop, mind fucking myself all the time. And I was in like lack and hustling and it was just blah. It was not good. So I was not at that point, I was not in my power and I was not taking 100% responsibility for creating my results. Like I knew it, but I was not doing it. So I actually remember when we moved back the first time, we were sitting in the taxi going to the airport, and then we kind of shake hands, my husband and I, saying that if one of us want to go back, the other one has to say no. Like the other one has to say no because this was not good. And then we came back to Denmark. We were there for 1.5 year. We got another son, and at some point, it's like, I think we need to go back to Bali. And he said, yeah, I think you're right. And then we have learned so much from the first time around. It's like, what do we want to do differently? How do we want to be now? So the second time around, it was so much more better because, Bali and Denmark is like, it's so different. And I came to Bali with my Danish mentality, not being in Sten. I wouldn't say I'm in Sten now, like, but I was just trying to bring my way of doing into Bali. And Balinese people, they will not have that. Like, you not come here and say, like, needs to go fast. We need to do it this way. Come on. Like, that's the beauty around Bali. Like, they're not gonna budge. Like, if you're trying to bring your Western I don't even know what to call it, but I guess you know what I mean. Like
yeah.
this hustling, we're doing it this way fast, and like they will just like kind of just say fuck you. They're not saying that because they're very, very nice people, but in the energy, like nothing will work. And that was what happened the first time. I was just looking for all the things that was not working. I was doing everything that I just told you that you should not do. So the first time around, I didn't get into any sin around Bali. I was just like, fuck this shit. And then the second time, it was so much better. Such a good decision. And this is the third time now. And again, it's just been such a good experience. And that's the beauty around like Bali, Denmark. Bali, Denmark, it's actually been really good to going back and forth because it's just so different. And
Yeah.
Denmark has its perks, but there's definitely a part of my soul. Like I belong more here. Like I'm so much more happy here. The vibe in Denmark is really harsh and very masculine. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of maybe at some point I will learn not to be affected by that, but I'm so sensitive. So it just like when I'm there for too long, I just starting like, oh, getting into that. Fuck, I can't contain the vibe because it's just so heavy.
Yeah.
And then I get back here and I'm like, hi Miella, there you are. There you
Yeah.
are again. So again, we do have the power to stay in our own power no matter where we are, but we know we're affected about our environment. And Yeah, so now, no, the first time in Bali was not, no, I was not doing that. It was just like, yeah, I was pretty much just in a weird stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not good.
But still, I think there's always like, even though you didn't feel it, I always feel like, see, even though you came back to Bali, so I always feel like Bali is teaching you so many things, and it's so
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
It's so funny when you said the thing about the Balinese, because as you know, I had a shop in Ubud in Bali, and I had Balinese employees, and I had no trouble with them, right? I always we work so well together. I really tried to understand the culture, and I really just went into the vibe of how it worked in Bali. And everybody else, all my friends who had businesses in Bali, they were constantly complaining about them because they were too
Yeah, yeah.
lazy, they were, not showing up. And I was like, I don't understand, because I never had problems with my people, because um I left my Western mentality and
Yeah,
tried to
exactly.
actually
Yeah.
understand how is it working
Yeah.
here. And they were so loyal to
Yeah.
me, and it was just such a beautiful experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's the power of migration, right? It's actually a really, really good example of how I showed up with my Western mentality. And I was looking at everything not working, so things was not working. You showed up looking at the beauty of the culture, trying to figure out like how is this working? What can I do in my end to make this work? And it was working. So that's again the power of the attraction, the way we show up. I just manifested what I was sending out, and you
yeah,
manifested what you were sending out. And it's such a good an example how we are in the same country, just doing things different ways. And I was creating these shitty results, and you had a different experience because you were showing up a different way. And that's everything. And we
yeah,
can shift that. And that was what I did the next time around. And I had a completely different experience. And again, here now, this time around, it's even better.
yeah,
Sometimes I do get into like this, oh, why? And then it's like, you gotta remember you're in Bali, back to like, and they're so intuitive, right? And it's like Bali is, oh yeah, it's just such a, yeah, you learn so much about yourself being here. It's such a beautiful country. And the people are so amazing.
yeah. That is so true. It's funny when you're saying that. It was actually quite easy for me with the business in Bali, and then I went back to Denmark, and all these fucking rules roll over me. There's so many rules
Yeah, yeah,
compared to, especially with jewelry, and how you sell it, and how you have to be, because
yeah,
and then suddenly I found myself in push-up bras, and was completely not the same vibe as I actually created my jewelry from.
yeah,
And so I will say,
yeah,
actually, not that you blame things on other people, but I think Denmark actually ruined a little bit my experience with my jewelry. And also, um like you said, like when you started your coaching business online and did courses and stuff, and that you were quite you just brought it, you were probably the first Danish person doing it. I was also the first fucking Danish person coming in with spiritual jewelry to Denmark in
yeah,
2011, and people were looking at me when I'm saying intuition and manifesting and affirmation. They're like,
yeah,
huh? Can I just have a piece of
yeah,
silver? And
yeah,
yeah, so that luckily shifted here, but I totally understand what you mean about the Danish being a little bit more.
yeah,
Whew. Yeah, I have yoga classes here in Athens, and I was mentioning women's circles and cacao ceremony. They were like,
yeah.
"What is that?"
Yeah, yeah, and that's a good thing. I think like in Denmark we're just a little bit behind on many things. Like I can
Yeah,
also see that from when I'm changing now. Like I've had an English brand for a long time, but going even more into it now, like you're so much more ahead. Like people understand when I'm talking about vibration and law of attraction, and I've been teaching people that in Denmark, like having this manifestation education, as I call it, and starting to teach people that because they're like, I don't get it. I just feel that there's something I want to learn. So the vibe is just different. And of course, there are a lot of amazing people in Denmark, but there are also a lot of heaviness and the general vibration, vibration in Denmark, depending on where you look, it's just different. It's just
yeah,
different. And it you have to be really strong to really like keep yourself in your own vibe. And yeah, it takes something to do that.
It does. And I think that is why you just sometimes, I think the best thing you can do if you are similar like you and me, you have to go to another place, because that would definitely
Yeah,
lift you up. It's like getting like D vitamins directly into your veins. And I think you
yeah,
have to do that. You can't stay in Denmark all the time, because otherwise you're not becoming open to what's actually possible. Because what Bali does, it's gathering all the people from all over the world, and they show you they have so many fantastic tools of healing and doing things differently, like where I think we
yeah,
are already always doing it in one way here. So the Balinese are
yeah,
doing it differently, and the expats who are coming there bring this energy to it, and you think like, whoa, what the fuck have I been
yeah,
missing out on?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, but
fantastic.
it's also something about in Denmark just taking fully responsibility of like kind of attracting the right people, right? Because of course there are amazing people in Denmark too.
Yeah,
And it's just about again saying like, how can I create an environment where I'm hanging with the right people, getting the vibe I want. So it's again back to that. But I just must say like the vibe is just different. And I cannot, like I've always talked with my clients around that. It's just different. And it's such a good mirror for how well are you like grounded and how well are you in your own vibe. And I can manage it, but for yeah, as you say, like it's so good for everyone to just get out sometimes
yeah,
and just feel like this it can also be like this.
yeah.
So yeah,
To get inspired, there's definitely, I because I love the country Denmark as well. Like there is something about the Danish people. We have there's something special about it, and nature and all the stuff here. But yeah, getting out and get some color and sun,
yeah,
and feel the
yeah.
different vibrations. So I have a question for you here that I ask all my podcast other guests, all my podcast
Hmm?
guests, and it's, tell me something that is true for you that almost nobody else agrees with you on.
Do I have something that almost like I think a lot of people agreeing on what I'm saying, and then there are a lot of people that don't get it. So
Yeah.
I don't think I have one thing that people will not agree on because there will always be someone that would agree with me. Not that it's important. Um, so I would not be able to answer that because I don't think that's true. I don't think that I actually am able to have one thing that I think is true, but a lot of people don't think. Maybe there's a lot of people don't think it's true. Yeah, maybe it's like there are a lot of people in the world still that they have not figured out how much power they have themselves to create the life and the business they want. So
Hmm.
there's still a lot of people thinking that they're kind of just doomed, or that they can't change anything, or they're kind of just set up to have the specific kind of life that they don't have any power of that. There's a lot of people still in that vibe. It's not my people, and I'm not trying to change that. I just accept that that's a lot of people living their life that way. I don't want to live my life that way. So I'm and not in any ways like I remember being interviewed for a Danish radio station at some point, and she said like, if you have this golden thing that can change people's lives, like why are you not standing on the corner like with a megaphone yelling it out? And I was like, no, that's not my job. Like that's not my job to convince anyone. Like I'm here and the right people will be attracted to me and we
Mm.
will work on that, but I'm not. And I think I did that in the start. I was trying to convert people or convince people, and I'm just not doing that. Like I think it's sad for people that they don't know, but it's not my job to try to convince or convert anyone. Like I'm here for the people who wants it, and the
Mm.
one who don't, I'm fine with that. I think they're missing out, but that's not my problem. That's theirs.
Yeah. And I also think, because even though if you would be with a megaphone on the streets, not everybody is at the right spot to hear you right then.
No,
Sometimes
no,
we
no.
just, yeah, sometimes we just need to go on a journey, and suddenly we will find you, or they will find me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there's so many steps to also, sometimes there's a few steps before we actually can vibrate on the same
Yeah.
vibration. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people saying, like, I really want to invest in working with you, but I'm not ready. I will come back when I'm
Yeah.
ready to rise to where you're at and the way you're working. And I'm like, I completely understand that. I was even like, you helped me also creating jewelry at some point, and I was so grateful for that. And I remember some people saying, like, it's like when I'm wearing the jewelry you have created, Miella, it's like I need to rise up to actually be able to wear it. And
Mm.
it's the same with my kind of mentoring and coaching. And I have people coming into my world and they might buy something and then they're gone for some years and then they're coming back. And it's like, okay, so now I'm ready for the next step. And that's just the beauty of it, trusting that people, when they are ready for it, and I know that I'm not for everyone. Like, I definitely know that you kind of need to be a special kind of entrepreneur and person to work with me. But I also know when you're clicking into that vibe, people are getting amazing results. But I'm not, and I will never be trying to convince people who are not ready. So I think you're so right saying that it's just like that. Like, we're just trusting that we're attracting people who are ready for us. The universe is sending they're sending the right people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And then you can suddenly you can hear the message clear because you are in the
Yeah.
right spot to hear what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah. You also just talked about my journey, how I have changed. And then I started attracting new people in, and the old people started vibing more. Like, I've had so many saying, like, I was following you and I could feel that there was something I needed from you. And then you kind of, I could feel you were working on yourself and you clicked this in. And then I was like, oh, there she is. Now I'll buy from her. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's also a part of it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so true. Yeah. There's just something. Yeah, again, and then suddenly the energy or the vibration are matching, and then
Mm.
it clicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more almost, I don't know even if this, because you probably already answered this question, but what is the most important thing you learned in life, and what was your life before learning it, and what is your life after learning it? But I think like almost the whole podcast was about that, but I don't know if you can just sum it up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. It would be that I'm okay. I'm good enough no matter what. Like, it does not matter my results. It does not matter if people like me or not. I'm good no matter what. And my life before that was, yeah, when you met me the first time was like I was seeking results all the time to validate myself. I was seeking approval. I was seeking like people, I wanted people to tell me I was good and doing good, and I wanted to make money to prove to myself that I was worthy.
Mm.
And when you just stop doing that, when you're, oh, the pool guy's here.
Yes.
When you stop, yeah, when you stop doing that, like, my life changed completely because I'm coming from such a grounded place. And then when you're coming from a more grounded place, you're attracting more amazing things. And you're not like, it's so hard on your system being in that vibe where you constantly seeking validation. You're constantly trying to be someone you're not to get people to like you. That's just, it just sucks.
It's
So I think that's the most important thing that I learned, that also my results in my business, they're getting so much better when I'm more me and
yeah.
showing up as me and telling myself that that's more than enough. Some people will not get it, and that's okay. A lot of people are waiting for it. A lot of people are getting it. A lot of people are getting amazing results, and that's enough. I just need to be me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so beautiful said. Yeah, I think that is the most important thing. Peel off the layers and then just be you and
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Mm.
So, okay, I have another one. If you had a billboard, your own billboard, it's big,
Mm.
what message would be on it for people?
It would probably be something around your thoughts and your feelings are creating your reality. So change your, I will probably, your mindset and your vibration is creating your reality. So change your vibration and then everything else will change. Because
Yeah.
I think that's the basic of creating a, like, I was about to say perfect. I don't believe in perfect, like, but a fantastic life, an amazing life. I think that's the thing, that we have so much power inside of ourselves to create the amazing life, the amazing business we want, the amazing relationships, the amazing body. We have so much power. So that would be my billboard board. Like, you're creating your own reality. So when you're changing your vibration, the outside world will start changing. And you are limitless. Like I would definitely say like you are limitless, and there's yeah, that would probably be a long billboard. Like I have something with words, but something around that. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was interviewing myself, I had the same billboard. It's too big. I don't know. It's like it's gonna be
Yeah,
a whole
yeah.
like
Like
city of words.
yeah, yeah. People say like, I don't bother reading that. That's just too much. But it would definitely be like change your vibration, change your life. You have the power, become limitless, like become magnetic and limitless. Be something like that.
Yeah. I also imagine the billboard me being in New York City and there's a traffic jam, so people actually have time to read it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah.
Or it could just be on the streets in Bali because that is a traffic jam sometimes there too.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, because I feel like you're so good at answering my question. So if you could leave if you could leave 3 truths behind for people to, live by, what would they be?
Um, it would probably be something like you're so much more powerful
Mm-hmm.
that you're showing right now. Um, your vibration is creating everything, so focus on that. Um, and then I would say life is about being happy. If we're not happy, what is even like the point of it? So life is about being happy, and gratefulness is very important. Like not only gratefulness from like writing in your journal 10 things you're grateful for, but you're not feeling it. Like the gratefulness is everything. Like that is yeah, probably something like that.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mm, you're
And
welcome.
so if is there any questions I should have asked you that I didn't? Do you feel still that there's something inside of you that you wanted to bring in this podcast, or did we kind of cover it beautifully?
Yeah, I kind of believe that what wants to come through comes through. So I kind of just believe that we're trusting the energy, and everything that people who are watching this needed to hear is here, and they will hear some of it. And if they go back and listen to it again in a month, they will hear something else. That's the beauty of energy, right? So
Mm.
it's growing, and there's also always something new in the energy. So I trust that both you and me, we have delivered exactly what was supposed to be delivered in this moment right now. And that's amazing. Like it's been so much
Yeah.
fun.
It has. I think it was such an amazing podcast, and I think you just delivered gold. And it was just so beautiful also to see the difference between the first meeting we had and the meeting we have now together. I think that was quite of
Yeah.
amazing because we're so different, both of us, from back then. And yeah, I'm amazed by you. I think you're doing a beautiful job, and I think it's so cool that you're bringing all these topics to the table, but you mixing in what I would say the Danish honesty, where you make it much more
Yeah.
easier
Yeah.
to understand. This is why I think that's
Yeah.
why you grabbed my attention again, like because like I said, I don't know how many years it has been since we met, but suddenly you showed up again, and I could feel that. Yeah, there was such a big different shift in you, and it was just
Yeah.
yeah, and you made it so much easier to understand. That is what I wanted to say. The whole
Yeah,
thing.
and I think the first time we met, I was trying to look perfect, right? I was trying to look like this is it, and always talking about being positive and I was being in that vibe. I was like, fuck that shit. I that's not me. Like I don't want to be that way. So I think that it might have been what also have attracted you now. Like I'm in such a different place, and it's just I think part of my mission is also about being honest, because
Yeah.
it's so easy to look at social media and then you just feel like a complete failure because like everybody else has it together and I don't get it. I must be a complete idiot. It's like, no, no, no. We all have the doubts. We are all mind fucking ourselves sometimes. Even me that teach mindbration, like I'm also doing it. And I think
Mm.
saying that, as you said before, makes it possible for other people just like, oh, I'm actually okay. Like I'm actually doing my best. I'm actually okay. And that's so important. Like that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I liked about it, right? Bringing the reality. That's all, also
Yeah.
why I call it uncomfortably honest, right? Because you, like you said, you look at social media and you think, oh my God, they have the shit together and they're just perfect. They slim, they work out all
Yeah.
the time and then make millions. And then you sit there and thinking, oh, I
Yeah.
just don't
I'm just
feel good
fucked.
enough. I suck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and really putting it on the table, even though because you, the way you present yourself online is really beautiful, and it feels like you have it all together, right? But also seeing the other side, that you're struggling with mind stuff too, even though you are a mindset
Yeah.
coach, it just makes you more human and more relatable.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
Mhm.
So the last question, where can we find you? Because I know you have a lot of stuff going on. You have like a lot of workshops and yeah, so tell me a little bit about your work and where can we upgrade our lives?
Yeah, yeah. The most easy way to find me is on miellaravenscroft.com. So if you don't know how that is spelled, just Google it. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. So that's basically where I'm at right now. So yeah, just search for Miella Ravenscroft and it'll pop up on Instagram, Facebook, and then my website. And then it's quite easy to see what I'm about and what I'm doing right now because I'm always like visible.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's probably the easiest way to do that. Don't send me a lot of DMs and mails and stuff like that. It's more like, yeah, just go to the social media, then I'll be there.
Yeah. I like your videos and the stuff you're doing. And I will also I link everything below in the podcast and on the
Oh,
YouTube
thank you. Yeah.
videos, because then it's
Yeah.
easier. Because sometimes, yeah, you know, not all of us are good
Yeah.
spellers. Not all of
No,
us.
no. Yeah. So the answer to the question is you can find me, look below, follow the links.
Just follow the links.
Yeah.
I will deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Oh, thank you.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and then they can see what's coming up, and just be inspired by your Instagram. I think that you're doing a really good job there. And this
Thank
was
you.
awesome, Miella. Do you have any last words for the crowd out there, or do you need to
No,
take?
I don't think so. No, no. I don't think so. It was such a pleasure and just enjoyed it so much.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for showing up
You're
today. And
welcome.
yeah, looking forward to see more from you. And thank you so much for today, Miella.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.